to repay monies for this loan, which ties up with the point we are making, that we must have a deliberate effort to have our people transition from the informal to the formal sector.
A survey also reveals that of children aged 5 to 17, 40 were in child labor. 8 in every 10 children in labor force were illiterate. 57% were in labor force because schools were closed up due to COVID-19 pandemic, and 22% were in child labor because of the need to supplement their family income.
But today we have been specifically unpacking the bigger report by key thematic areas. The area of child labor, there is now a particular report that traces all the relevant statistics about child labor. And this is important for us as a ministry responsible for gender, labor and social development, because children are our responsibility. Social protection and protection, especially of the children, is something we need to plan for, we need to address.
Based on all the findings. And normally, one of the things we encourage in our reports is that we need to have policy discussions over this, because as the Bureau, we simply put to you what is coming out of the analysis. And we encourage policy discussions. We may not point to any given policy, but we may say this needs to be looked into, this needs to be addressed.
The report further highlights that 80% of employees did not have their social security contribution. 8 in 10 persons have oral or verbal agreement, and that 89% of the youth do not have functional bank account. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
I'm going to invite Flavia.
All right, now moving on. We take a look at the Trade Enactment Enhancement Initiative. As earlier today, Uganda Revenue Authority launched implementation of mutual recognition agreement between Uganda and People's Republic of China. Now, this agreement marks a significant milestone in simplifying business operations for importers and strengthening trade relations between these two nations. Bronia Katosime has details.
In May 2021, Uganda Revenue Authority signed an authorized economic operator mutual recognition arrangement online with China during the 5th Global Conference held in Dubai. This was said to improve Uganda's share trade in Africa, borrowing from good trade practices of China as a major player in trade. Additionally, this agreement is operational, indicating cooperation with customs administration and partnership with URA and traders. Despite that, for traders to benefit from this agreement, they should be certified as authorized economic operators.
Ugandan AEOs, and they also exchange theirs. We have found that some of the authorized economic operators in China are already having branches here in Uganda. Some are working in industrial parks, others are in oil and gas companies. So the arrangement now is that we are going to have exchange of information between the two countries. We are also going to have the companies recognized here in Uganda and the Ugandan companies recognized in China. So it is going to improve our trade relations with our major trading partner, China, and to
its vast market and immense economic powers has authorized a staggering 5,000 economic operators to engage in trade under this agreement. On the other hand, Uganda, with its rich resources and growing economy, boasts a commendable 118 authorized economic operators. These numbers speak volumes about commitment of both nations to foster smooth business operations and streamline the clearance and tax payment processes.
Of the core facilitations, as you know, Uganda has many products seeking export to China, and China welcomes them. As I said that recently, China just granted 98% taxable items, zero tariff status. That means additional more than 1,000 goods enjoy this zero tariff, including coffee.
With dawn of conditions such as demonstrating compliance in tax payments to qualify as an authorized economic operator, this becomes challenging due to limited transparency and accountability in trade.
We have a number of people who have really expressed interest to join, but most of the people, and even us, our systems are not so much integrated or connected, just like in those countries in China, where you can collect information very fast and then make sure that within a week you have accredited somebody. So it takes some time, and just like you have been informed, at the beginning we were just looking at you and the way you are compliant to customs. Now it has changed. We are looking at you holistically. How are you to customs? How are you to domestic taxes? What about investigations? Legal everywhere.
This agreement aims to strengthen trade, facilitating simplified procedures and creating an environment conducive to attract more investors, increase import and export activities. This development not only promotes economic growth, but also lays foundation for long-term partnerships and collaborations.
That even if the systems between the different government departments are integrated, then that means the information we'll be asking will possibly be less, because you already have information. If it is in the system of the URA, Investment Authority will possibly be able to pick up that information and still be able to use it for their own registration purposes. But this is all aimed at easing doing business in Uganda, but also in making sure that we facilitate the investors who are coming into Uganda, so that then they're able to have an investment climate that will also propel them to maybe bring in more investment, or even call upon their colleagues to also come and invest in the nation.
In addition, it is expected to foster closer trade relations, facilitating flow of goods and services, and enhancing cooperation in various sectors. This will contribute to job creation, increased investments, and sustainable economic development, hence reducing bureaucratic hurdles and pave way for a more efficient trade experience. Bernia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, anyways, members of parliament on the opposition side are having a consultative workshop to deliberate on constitutional and electoral reforms that will transform the country's socio-economical and political aspects. In regards, these have been advised to rise above greed and differences for the betterment of the people in Uganda.
Many Ugandans do not know their constitutional rights or obligations. That is why they end up breaking the law or being exploited in their daily lives. The opposition in parliament is brainstorming on how to preach the constitution to all Ugandans through tabling amendments on the floor of parliament in the next session. The opposition leader in parliament stated during his opening remarks that many Ugandans are unaware of their constitutional rights, which is why their natural resources are taken from them, their land is seized, and they have nowhere to turn for assistance.
Land belongs to the people and not to the government, and as such, government cannot deprive people of their land without their consent. 8. Natural resources are held by government in trust for the people and do not belong to the government. 9. The duty of every citizen to defend the Constitution from being suspended, overthrown, abrogated, or amended contrary to its provisions. And 10. Parliament cannot make a law legalizing a one-party state or reversing a decision of a court of law as to deprive a party.
The National Unity Platform President Robert Chagulanyi has cautioned his members to rise above the differences they have as the opposition and legislate on transforming the people who voted them into power.
I know that even in this room, ladies and gentlemen, this room where we are, I know that we have varying levels of trust amongst us. But I must say this to you today, that we are not here just to pass time or to pretend to be politically mature. We are here because Uganda needs us. We are here because our country is at crossroads. We have a duty, ladies and gentlemen, to collectively give direction, because all of us have an equal stake in this, our country. Our country needs us at this defining time, and each of us must honorably and decently play their role.
Members of Parliament, on the other hand, have committed to take this message out to the last Ugandan. According to legislators, they believe constitutional and electoral reforms which they are yet to table in Parliament will enable the business sector blossom through their fair taxation policies compared to what is happening now, where the poor are heavily taxed on the expense of the rich.
Everyone who is in a business, don't say that we are just wasting time. Leaders are the influencers of businesses, the one in the markets, the one in SSF, the one in any company. The influencers, the leaders. So if we set the environment, the mutual ground for political environment, business, churches, education, everything, any sector, it will be okay and it will be running smoothly. Political leaders are the one imposing high taxes. They are the one influencing business. They are influencing everything.
When you see the representation of Ugandans, almost every category of person is going to have an appointee. When you look at the special interest groups, we have the MOP representative for youth, women, MOP representative for youth, boys. We have representatives for people with disabilities. We have even beyond the special interest groups, but you find even the UPDF is being categorized as if it is a special interest group. And the accounts to justify the speciality of UPDF as a special interest group is not anywhere in the Constitution, neither in any guidelines.
The legislators have also promised that if the amendments are passed, there will be equitable distribution of resources in the country vis-à-vis the current situation where resources are not equitably placed. The MPs have also tasked their colleagues to keep away from situations where they will be bribed to sell their own people.
We need to be honest. As we look at the Constitution, there is selfishness on the side of leaders. You know, they have told you that, that patronage in Parliament, but patronage is accompanied with money. People are bribed. How do you make a decision that affects the general public because you've been given money? So for me, I think we must ensure that we develop public trust. People will, the moment they trust us, this means they will be able to also understand what we give them. So for me, honesty, when it comes to the side of leaders, is very wanting, and it's something we should pick up. Otherwise, leadership is losing meaning.
Reforms, the key thing here is the unequitable distribution of resources. Because like when we talk of devolution, if it is well put, some people call it federal, but devolution of powers. That means every area they manage their issues. This unemployment will reduce because each area will employ their own people. And at the end of the day, they will be making money. Even the corruption will reduce because many people, I know you cannot steal from your own area.
As the NRM is having a retreat to focus on increasing household income of all Ugandans, especially the 39% which is still in poverty, the opposition is deliberating on how to table constitutional and electoral reforms which they say will transform this country out of poverty. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
And now we talk about this Ugandan-South Sudan relations. President Museveni has held a crucial meeting with South Sudan's Vice President to address the deteriorating situation in Sudan. Now, the two leaders convened to discuss the escalating unrest and its potential impact on bilateral trade between the two nations. This is in this report.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has welcomed and held discussions with His Excellency Malik Agal, the Vice Chairman of the Transitional Sovereignty Council of the Republic of Sudan. During their discussion, His Excellency Agal gave the President a comprehensive overview of the current security situation in Sudan, highlighting the need for continued efforts to bring stability to the region. As the chairman of the Peace and Security Council of the African Union, President Museveni emphasized the importance of ending the fighting and working towards reconciliation and fair elections. He stressed that the people of Sudan should be given the opportunity to choose their own leader through a democratic process. He further emphasized that Sudan belongs to its people and that the country's future should not be determined by any individual or group. The meeting between President Museveni and Deputy Chairman Agal has served as an important reminder of the critical role that leadership and democratic processes play in achieving peace and stability in the region. Additionally, trade between Uganda and Sudan has long been a vital component of their bilateral relations, with goods and services flowing across their shared borders. However, the situation in Sudan has raised concerns about potential disruptions to trade routes, increased transportation costs, and a decline in investor confidence. As the situation in Sudan continues to evolve, regional and international stakeholders will closely monitor the progress made in implementing the outcomes of this crucial meeting. Efforts to stabilize Sudan and restore peace and security are vital not only for the people of Sudan, but also for the stability and prosperity of the wider region. While specific details of the meeting's outcomes have not been released, it is expected that further diplomatic engagements and joint initiatives will be undertaken to address the challenges faced by Sudan and safeguard the economic ties between Uganda and Sudan. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Well, elsewhere, the business community in Kisenyi today welcomed the new branch from Kamu Kamu Ssonko Limited, a savings and credit cooperative organization which is tailored to the needs of low-income earners in the area. This initiative aims to empower traders by offering business loans, rental loans, border loans, and more suitable products without requiring any collateral. Today, over 200 accountants were opened at the branch, and also today over 200 accounts were opened at the branch, adding to the existing 50,000 customers. We have details.
A remarkable trend is emerging among low-income traders in downtown Kampala as they actively participate in daily savings schemes offered by various savings and credit cooperative organizations, SACCOs. In a surprising departure from conventional corporate practices, these traders are defying stereotypes by prioritizing regular savings as a means of securing their financial future. The Kamkamu Traders Ssonko presents an ideal platform for low-income earners in Kisenyi to access much-needed financial support. By offering business loans, border loans without a requirement for collateral, the Ssonko eliminates a major obstacle that often hinders small business owners and entrepreneurs from obtaining financial assistance.
We can touch on many lives. We can change very many. And it's the reason why we are opening a branch for Kisenyi. The business is going down to Kisenyi by this upper side. When you go to Kisenyi, you see that there are now very many shops there. It is a busy area compared to this side. So the business is shifting from this side to Kisenyi. And also, when you look at the Kisenyi area, that's the low-income earners. That's why we have even designed our products that fits them. Products that are this side are different from the products that we are going to give the other side, because we want strictly to address the mwananchi in Kisenyi. That's why we have adjusted in our policies concerning our loan products. We hope to be a very strong Ssonko.
Tubeeramu baleeta emaali okuva e China baagala omusolo. Tuyina eyo looni y'omusolo nti omuntu ajja ne tugimuweerawo day and day nga talinaayo na musingo, talinaayo na ki, ng'atuwadde empapula zaaki za revenue, kubanga abasuubuzi baffe tutambula nabo. Tuyinayo looni y'amasomero kubanga abasuubuzi baffe balina abaana. Ffe tukeera ku makya ne tuweerera abaana baabwe ne kasaba tuwawe banka receipts ne tusigala ne tusasula. Ate ekyenjawulo ekirimu eyo looni nti amagoba gaayo ga wansi nnyo. So kuba omulanga ab'ebitiibwa looni zaffe muzettanire. Tulinayo looni y'ebidduka nga bwe mulabaawo naku switi zaffe ababooda bakama baffe bensinga okwagala bakoze omulimu munene nnyo, era tubawa booda ne bava ku kusasulanga tugende w'omugagga omuntu n'akola ng'amanya akolera kintu kyakimaleyo.
Obtaining a license from Bank of Uganda would provide the Ssonko with a significant boost, granting it the recognition and credibility needed to further expand its services and reach a wider scope.
We are not worried about that because we believe that Bank of Uganda is coming in the shortest period of time according to the level of capital that we are owning now. You find that we are even beyond Umura for Umura to supervise us. So we are very, very aware and ready because we know that any time we shall receive a recommendation.
The women who have recently opened accounts with the Ssonko are filled with optimism regarding the positive changes they anticipate in their lives. They recognize that even small savings starting from 10,000 shillings can gradually accumulate to 60,000 shillings, and these accumulated savings will not only allow them to access loans, but also enable them to build more substantial savings, leading to personal development and growth. I'm very happy with this Ssonko. I hope to save as much as I can so that I can also see development. I'll be saving compared to how much I make per day. Could be 10,000, could be 60,000. It will always depend on how much I make. Local leaders have emphasized the importance of collaboration and maintaining a secure and peaceful environment for Ssokos to thrive, as they acknowledge that issues related to Ssokos and money are often associated with incidents of theft and debts.
Borders, babrokers bali wano mu kitundu mubere mufune busomo ukwatagana ne kamukamu.
Boda men and brokers collaborate with Kamu and learn about saving. We call for working together in this journey so that we can both make our work easier.
And as the trend continues to gain momentum, stakeholders increasingly recognize the significance of promoting financial literacy and expanding access to Ssokos among low-income traders. These initiatives not only contribute to the traders' individual prosperity, but as well as fostering economic growth and resilience within downtown Kampala.
And well, of course, with that report, we now head into a commercial break. But we'll return with more business today, so stick around with us.